Hello and welcome to this video for today, whether you're here for the first time or you're returning. Hope you will enjoy. Hey guys, I'm feeling a bit of an anime geek. I'm feeling my weebish self here today. Not in an inappropriate way, no. Just feeling my weebish self. Wanted to discuss a little bit of Pokemon. If you haven't already seen what this video is all about by the icon image and whatnot, we're talking about what everyone gets wrong about Ash Pikachu versus Snivy. Now, of course, I'm talking just about any Pikachu and any Snivy whatsoever. I'm talking, of course, about Trip's Snivy, and this is from Pokemon Season 14, episode. This is mainly from Episode 1, which is titled In the Shadow of Zekrom, which is very important to my discussion here, and this is what I want to talk about, why everyone gets this whole discussion wrong. But this is from mainly Episode 1. But it does happen throughout the whole series, more so, but I often just see people just discuss this very first battle the most that I see people discuss it, and they get it so wrong. You know, they talk about the last season before that where Ash was in the Pokemon League up against Tobias and his Darkrai, mainly in that episode. It was able to be taken down by Ash's Sceptile in that match after a few grueling battles with his other Pokemon and whatnot. And then Ash lost a couple more of his Pokemon to his Latios there, and Ash's Pikachu was able to take down the Latios, not without KOing itself. You know, that was a very epic battle and whatnot, and you know, these are both, you know, mythical, legendary Pokemon that we're talking about. So a lot of people saw that, and then they saw this episode and just like watched it and go, holy crap, why the hell did Ash's Pikachu that just beat up a Latios and, you know, this sort of thing, lose to a level 5 Snivy that's never battled? First of all, we don't know whether the Snivy's quote-unquote never battled before. That, you know, that is not 100% whether we know that or not. It's probably not battled very much, and certainly probably not in a trainer battle per se. I'm talking more about in the wild, but I would certainly suggest that the Snivy would have been trained by the professors in the region and whatnot, because it has to be at level 5, and when it comes out of the egg, it's not going to be at level 5. So it's got to gain some experience in some ways. I don't know if you can get that high of a level too easily just by, you know, being in the wild and whatnot, because it wasn't in the wild for very long, of course, at all, probably, or if any time at all, because the starter Pokemon are bred specifically just to be starter Pokemon and are very often hard to find in the region otherwise. So, you know, it's very interesting to think about that. That might be another topic for another day, but, you know, that whole thing is not going to be like, oh, it comes out at level 5, it doesn't happen. You know, so the professors and whatnot should have to train these Pokemon to some degree, and some of that theoretically would be battling stroke learning new moves. Of course, Trip's Snivy is a little bit OP, knowing a move that it shouldn't learn until like level 14 or 15, maybe 16, I can't quite remember, Leaf Storm. That is quite OP, but the thing that everyone just gets wrong about this whole battle and they forget about is Zekrom. That's the biggest thing that people just forget about this whole thing is, and it really annoys me, is that people just say, oh, Pikachu, you know, took down Latios, but then a level 5 Snivy took down Pikachu. That is stupid logic. Well, yes, it is stupid logic to a degree, but the thing is, Zekrom was involved in this story, and you just skip over that part entirely. Zekrom came down from the clouds, came down from the skies, attacked Pikachu in a sense, and we didn't really know what happened to Pikachu, but we later found out that Pikachu could not use its electric attacks after this point. So obviously Zekrom did something so Pikachu could not use its electric attacks. Now, of course, this is just sort of a plot device in the anime to sort of quote-unquote reset Pikachu, because Pikachu at this point was way overpowered, and this sort of happens at every beginning of every season of the anime, where they sort of go, wait a minute, we just had Pikachu, you know, for the last year, and it's really OP and has been really good in this last year. So wait a minute, we've actually got to power it down somehow. And they kept trying to do that in different ways and whatnot. This season, they just decided to do it in this way by making Zekrom come down. Now, in storyline, yes, of course, all that sort of stuff goes away. And then you want to start looking at it from the perspective of, like, in-game universe canon or in-game universe fable, or whatever you want to call it. What would Zekrom have wanted to... Why would Zekrom have done this? What was Zekrom's, intentions and whatnot, this sort of thing? So, perhaps we can learn a little bit about Zekrom from some of its Pokédex entries, like we could figure it out, perhaps. From its black and white Pokédex entries, we can see that it creates electricity in its tail. Its tail is a generator that creates electricity. And its black 2 and white 2 entry says it can scorch the world with lightning. It assists those who want to build an ideal world. In its later Pokédex entries, you can see that basically it sort of says the same thing, that it stores lightning in its tail, it can scorch the world with lightning, it can assist those who want to build an ideal world, these sorts of things. The interior of its tail is like a motor, it can generate many lightning bolts. Mythology tells us that righteousness is in their hearts, their kingdom is raised by lightning. So, like some of this is, more circumstantial to, like, the world of Pokemon and whatnot sort of thing. So, when you look at some of this sort of stuff and you try to analyze this in saying, well, what would Zekrom's motivation be, in universe for why it would take Pikachu's electricity? It doesn't make that much sense. There aren't a lot of electric Pokemon in the region, but it's not that there aren't any, but it's also that there almost aren't any Pokemon from previous generations in the region either. So that's another really big thing that people don't really kind of think that much about. It's also always thought of that Pokemon kind of are testers, and that they will test their trainers or test their catchers, especially like legendary Pokemon tend to test people and see if they're worthy and whatnot. I know it doesn't really say that much about that sort of thing in its entries, but that's a sort of thing that is very common among legendaries and whatnot, that we know that is an in-game sort of thing that does happen and whatnot. So that could be another thing that sort of, is Zekrom here sort of thing, that it's testing Ash, or it's, trying to, sort of give this, motivation or whatnot, something else. But, we'll never really know exactly. We could guess a whole bunch of sort of different about, you know, its motivations, and we could try to look at all these different things and whatnot, like I sort of say. But again, we can't really know for sure what, you know, motivations was there and whatnot. But again, so I just want to get back to sort of like finishing off this sort of discussion here. So the thing is, again, I just find that this subject is just a very sort of subject that ever through, and no one really sort of, you know, tells the tale correctly. And maybe the tale will never be told correctly, and it will always be told in the way that's, you know, Ash's Pikachu just lost to a level 5 Snivy after defeating Latios, a legendary Pokemon. Everyone will keep forgetting that Zekrom was a huge part of that and whatnot, and the huge part of the series and the whole, you know, black and white anime leading through to the end and whatnot. That was a huge part of the arc of the story until Pikachu eventually got its electricity back. So, you know, it's one of the things that you could keep thinking about and keep discussing some of the lore and whatnot behind all that and whatnot again. But again, I just really find it annoying that people tell this story incorrectly, and I just think that people really need to remember, yes, this is what happened. Pikachu did lose to a level 5 Snivy or whatever, but it wasn't just like, oh yeah, you lost to a level 5 Snivy. No, Zekrom took Pikachu's electricity, meaning that Pikachu wasn't able to use its electric attacks. Yeah, sure, electric attacks wouldn't be very effective on Snivy, but it stuffed up Ash and Pikachu's game plan. It stuffed up their rhythm. It stuffed up what they were doing throughout the rest of the season, up until like Pikachu regained some of its electricity, and even then it lost a lot of power in its electricity and whatnot. So it was very interesting sort of journey that they went on, and this was sort of the last season that I was actually actively watching. I think that this season was a little bit annoying at times, and the further and further it went on, the more annoying it sort of got. But in good ways, it was still a alright season. I think the seasons past this one were much more annoying to me, and that's probably because I was getting older and the series is more geared to a kid audience, and that's kind of what I mean by getting annoying. It's just sort of repeating all these quote-unquote kid life lessons, basically, for the most part. You know, treat everyone fairly, treat everyone right, don't do the wrong thing, don't steal, blah, 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 this sort of stuff. You know, once you've heard that a few times and seen that a few times and whatnot, you know, sort of thing, you sort of go, yeah, I know all that, you know, now, you know, like, and things like that. But it is a good series for kids, I guess, that sort of need to go through that sort of stuff and learn those lessons sometimes. So, but anyway, that's also probably another subject for another day. But anyway, guys, that is what I have had to say about what everyone gets wrong about Snivy versus Pikachu. So what did you guys think? Do you think I've got a bit of a point here that people need to remember? Oh yes, Zekrom is actually involved in this story. You can let me know. Write them those comments. Write them down there below, and I'll do my best to respond to all of them and have a great discussion about Pokemon. Because everyone we love. We just love this great anime, this great game, and that. So, yep, shoot me a message and we'll have a bit of a chat about it. Please remember that the success of channels like this is based on viewers like you. So please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing if you would like to support this content. You can also get social with us on our Discord and on our Facebook. If you would like to further support the channel, you can go onto our Patreon. All links are in the description. Thank you for your support. It really means a lot. I hope you have enjoyed this video here today, and if you have, I hope you will come back for another one. See you then.